Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata-sevayā. Bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. Aradhayo bhagavan vrajeshatanayas tadhama vrindavanam. Ramya kachitupasana vrajavadhu vargena vakalpita. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam pramanamamalam premah pumartho mahan. Śrī Caitanya-Mahāprabhur-matamidam tatradharana para. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna-prishthaya bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. Naham Vipro na cha Narpatir napi Vaishyo na Shudro Naham Varni cha na cha Grihapatir no Manasto Yatirva Kintu Proktyam Nikhila Paramananda Purnamritabder Gopir Bharatur Pad Kamalayor Das Sanudas. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as a servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the Gopis. He is like an ocean of the nectar, and he is the cause of universal, transcendental bliss. He's always existing with brilliance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much, dear worshipable devotees, for joining. We are reading Canto 10 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chapter 29. Krishna and the Gopis meet for the Rasa dance, and we are reading text 10 and 11, so for last 2 days. So we'll continue with that and complete the purport by the humble disciples of His Divine Grace, Abhicharana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Śrī Prabhupada ki Jai. After enjoying the pleasures of the rasa dance and other pastimes with Kṛṣṇa, the Munichari Gopis who had participated went back to their homes when the night was over, as did the Nitya and the other advanced Gopis. But now Yogamaya protected these Munichari Gopis from the material association of their husbands. In other words, these Gopis were devoid of any selfish attachment for husband, children, and so on. Since these Gopis were thoroughly immersed in the great ocean of love for Kṛṣṇa, their breasts dried up so that they could not feed their infants. And to their family members, they appeared as if haunted by ghosts. In conclusion, it is not unseemly that the Gopis who were previously in material association joined in the rasa dance. Some authorities, however, maintain that the Gopis who were kept back in their houses did not have children. According to them, whenever such words as aptya, children, apatya, children are used in verses yet to come. These words refer to the children of co-wives and to adopted children or to nephews and nieces. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Raghu Prabhu, Vaswati Mataji, Baldev Prabhu, Sarva Mataji, Vijay Prabhu Mataji, and Preeti Mataji for joining, taking out your valuable time to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam together. So in this particular section, we are reading that some gopis had some attachment to their, not the Nityasiddhas, the Municharis. The Nityasiddhas had zero attachment to anything else, as we were discussing yesterday also, and complete attachment to Krishna. But we may not be fully ripe in the association of advanced souls and in the heat of Krishna consciousness. Those who may not be fully ripe, if they stay in the process, they will also get fully ripe. And that's what happened to the Munichari gopis, although they were not fully ripe, but by the association of the other Nityasiddha gopis and the association of their beloved Supreme Lord Śrī Krishna, their attachment to Krishna was 100%. And their selfish attachment to husband, children, etc. was 0. This is the power of bhakti. That anything which is not conducive for bhakti, now we're not saying like here to give a family and all that stuff, so please don't, let's not conclude that. But the point here is that to cut down the selfish attachment. Even Kunti Mata says that, that my bondage with my children is so deep, to cut down that on a material level. So this was a long verse with long purport, text 10 and 11. I'll read the translation again. And it's a long purport. But those gopis, share my screen. But those gopis who could not see Krishna, could not go to see Krishna, intolerable separation from their beloved caused an intense agony that burned away all the impious karma. By meditating upon him, they realized his embrace and the ecstasy. They then felt exhausted their material piety. Although Lord Śrī Krishna is the Supreme Soul, these girls simply thought of him as their male lover and associated with him in that intimate mood. Thus, their karmic bondage was nullified and they abandoned their gross material bodies. So as we know, like Mata Yashoda does not think Krishna as Krishna. She just thinks, oh, he's an ordinary child who needs my attention. So similarly, the friends of Krishna does not think Krishna as the Supreme God. They think, oh, we are buddies, we are friends, they are throwing mud at each other, they are throwing food at each other, they are climbing on each other's back. No one would do that to the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Madhurya Rasa, the gopis, they are not thinking here Krishna as the Supreme Soul, the Lord of all lords, the master of all masters, right? So this is the higher rasa, where the supremacy of Lord takes less of a priority, and their love is so intense, deep, that Krishna even says that I reciprocate according to how one approach, right? Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyam mam vartmana anuvartante manushya partha sarvasha. That Krishna says, I reciprocate according to how one approaches. But Krishna also says, to the gopis' love, actually I cannot reciprocate because their love is so deep. My reciprocation falls short. This is Kṛṣna. Any thoughts, comments anyone has in this particular verse before we move to text number 12? Anyone? Okay, let's read the next verse. Text number 12. Anyone who didn't get a chance yesterday?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 12. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Krishnam Vidhu Param Kantam Natu Brahmataya Mune Guna Prabhaho Paramash Tasham Guna Dhyam Katham. Scroll up, Prabhuji. Translation and purport by the disciple of His Divine Grace S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Parikshit Maharaj said, O sage, the gopis knew Krishna only as their lover, not as the supreme absolute truth. So how could these girls, their minds caught up in the waves of the modes of nature, free themselves from material attachment? Purport. King Parikshit was sitting in an assembly of great sages and other important personalities, listening to the words of Shukadev Goswami. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, as Shukadev began speaking of the gopis' conjugal love for Krishna, the king noticed the expressions of the faces of some of the more materialistic persons present there and realized the doubt lurking in their hearts. Therefore, although the king thoroughly knew the purport of Shukadeva's words, he presented himself as experiencing personal doubt so that he could eradicate the doubt of others. That is why he asked this question. So according to this translation and purport here, it's explained that Parikshit Maharaj knew that what is the gopis' love, and it is not contaminated with any material or any sense gratification. But still he asked this question to let other people know who has those material senses, thinking with material knowledge, or their thinking is different than what the gopis are thinking about the Supreme Lord. So that's what, and that's what here Parikshit Maharaj is asking the question. And it could also people who has mundane knowledge about Krishna and gopis relationship, they also think, they make wrong comments, bad comments about those Krishna's Lila, which are totally transcendental without any material attachment or any sense gratification. So that is that's my understanding. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for this nice reading and sharing your thoughtful comments. If a materialistic person hears this, oh, young girls in the middle of the night went out for what? Oh, to be with their beloved, right? And in their eyes, Krishna is not Supreme Lord. That's what a materialistic person with untrained devotional eyes would see. And Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj sensed it. Because as mentioned here, in that assembly, there were other Gyanis and, many people who, where was it happening? Anyone recalls? Where is this katha happening? Parikshit Maharaj is hearing, and others are also present.
The assembly of sages. Is it Naimisharanya?
Naimisharanya.
This one is not at Naimisharanya. That's Sutta Goswami. This is Shukadev Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. Right? Shukadev Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. At Naimisharanya, who is speaking? Sutta Goswami is speaking to the thousands of rishis of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunak. That happened at Naimisharanya, which is like also called as the epicenter of the universe, actually. So this happened at Shukatal, where Shukdev Goswami was speaking, and I think I shared some pictures also in one of the readings, because when I went to India last time in January, we went to this place also. Very beautiful. The river Ganges flows next to it. Still there is that beautiful banyan tree, very big, very sacred. So that happened at over there. And over there were a lot of others also who were not completely pure devotees, jnanis, yogis, munis, etc., etc. And somehow this doubt was, in their heart. Oh, looks like these, if I tell you, oh, a young girl went in the middle of the night to meet a young boy, what will a very good image come of that girl? Right? Think of, right? And that too, if I say, oh, a young devotee went to do puja at the temple, a young girl went to do, oh, that's very nice, right? Oh, what nice sanskar, nice culture. Oh, this family is so nice, the parents are so nice. Because there the girl is thinking as Kṛṣṇa, correct? But here, the young gopis are not thinking him as the Supreme Lord, the master of all. They are thinking that's their like highest love. So this, Shukdev Goswami mentions, and it's mentioned in the Sararth Darshini by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, translated by Srila Bhanu Maharaj, his own is Bhanu Swami Maharaj, that one can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Supreme Lord. Right? What's the famous verse which fits in here? One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Supreme Lord. Janma karma chame devyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva devam punarjanma naiti mamiti swarjuna. So one can attain liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the divine birth and activities, right? So the individual soul only realizes the Supreme Soul when he recognizes the transcendental position of the Lord. So we will see Shukdev Goswami's reply in the next verse. Let's read text number 13, if anyone would like to read text 13 and see what was his response to the question of Srila Parikshit Maharaj. Anyone?
Okay, Prabhuji. Additional devotees, Dhamma Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada, text 13. Sri Shuka Uvacho, Uktam Purostat Etate, Joida Siddhim Jatha Gato, Doishan Opi Rishikesham, Kim Utto Dokshaja Priya. Translation purport by the devotees of His Divine Grace, I.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Shukdev Goswami said, this point was explained to you previously. Since even Shishupal, who hated Krishna, achieved perfection, then what to speak of the Lord's dear devotees? Purport. Although the spiritual nature of conditioned souls may be covered by illusion, Lord Krishna's spiritual nature is omnipotent and is never covered by any power. In fact, all other powers are his energy and thus function according to his will. The Brahma Samhita states, Sisti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shaktir Eka Chaivo Yasya Bhuvani Vivitta Durga Ichhanurupam Api Yasya Cha Chestate Sha. The mighty Durga who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material worlds is the potency of the Supreme Lord, and she moves like his shadow according to his desire. Thus, because the Lord's spiritual influence does not depend on whether someone understands him or not, the Gopis' spontaneous love for Krishna guaranteed their spiritual perfection. The great Madhvacharya quotes the following relevant passages from the Skanda Puran. Krishna kamastada gopas tekta deham divam gata shamma krishnam para brahma gata kalat param yo. At that time, the gopis who desired Krishna gave up their bodies and went to the spiritual world because they properly understood Krishna to be the supreme absolute truth. They transcended the influence of time. Purvam cho gana somuktas tatrapi parasyas tatha atastasam paramam brahma goti asinna kamata. In the previous lives, the most of the gopis were already fully endowed with transcendental knowledge. It is because of this knowledge, not the last, that they were able to attain supreme Brahman. So should I stop here? A long verse.
Prabhuji. Want to summarize or share some thoughts?
So, what I understood that in the previous verse, when Shukdev Goswami was talking about these gopis meeting with the Krishna in the middle of the night, so Parikshit was noticed that some material persons have some doubt. So to elaborate the doubt or to take the doubt, clear the doubt, he actually raised the issue to the Shukdev Goswami. So to eradicate the doubt of the others. And Shukdev Goswami here explaining in details who are these gopis. In the last sloka that I read, here clearly says that they are endowed with the transcendental knowledge. It is because of this knowledge, not the last. So they came to meet the Supreme Lord in these pastimes. And as you know, Krishna is a Supreme Lord. Here in the explanation, we see the Brahma Samhita, it is telling that mighty Durga also does all the activities. Now, and in the Brahma, we know that all the demigods doing their activities because under Krishna's order. So Krishna's Supreme Lord and the devotees who is totally surrendered to him and love him, they are the one who are coming for this pastime. So they are also very close to the Krishna, and they are the supreme devotees. These gopis are. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Let's read the rest of the purport. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees and Nityaṁ of the Śrī Prabhupada. Nato janma rite moksho naya panati hi shruti kama yukta tadha bhaktir janmam chato vimuktika. The Vedas declare that without spiritual knowledge, there is no valid path to liberation. because these apparently lusty gopis possessed devotion and knowledge, they achieved liberation. Ato mokshepi tesam cha kamo bhaktyano vartate mukti sad sabdho ito chaitya prabhato dvesha bhavina. Thus, even in their attainment of liberation, lust followed as manifestation of their pure devotion. After all, what we call liberation was experienced even by envious persons like Shishupala. You want me to complete? Okay. Bhakti margi Pritam Muktim Aghad Vishnu Prasadata Kamastva Asubha Shri Chapi Bhaktya Vishnu Prasadakrit. By the mercy of Lord Vishnu, one who follows the path of devotional service gains liberation as a byproduct, and a such lusty desire, which would normally invoke misfortune, instead invokes the mercy of Vishnu when exhibited in pure devotion. Dveshi jiva yutam chapi bhaktam Vishnu vimochyate ahopati karuna Vishnu shishupalasya mokshana. Lord Vishnu will save even a devotee possessed of an envious life. Just see the extreme mercy of Lord as shown by his granting liberation to Shishupala. Shishupala was Lord Krishna's cousin. He was mortified when the Lord stole the gorgeous young Rukmini, when whom Shishupala himself was hell-bent on marrying. For various other reasons also Shishupala was consumed with envy of Lord Krishna, and finally he insanely offered him in a great offended him in a great assembly called Rajasuya sacrifice. At this time, Krishna nonchalantly cut off Shishupala's head and gave him liberation. Everyone present saw the effulgent soul of Shishupala rise out of the dead body and merge into the existence of the Lord. The seventh canto explains that Shishupala was an incarnation of a gatekeeper in the spiritual world, cursed to take birth on the earth as a demon. Since even Shishupala was liberated by the Lord, who took into consideration the whole situation, that then what to speak of gopis who love Krishna more than anything. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one full explanation here. So as we can see how even though Shishupala and other asuras were very inimical to Krishna, like even Kamsa, he was always thinking of Krishna, but in an inimical way. So even they got liberation. So now what to speak of the gopis who gave everything to Krishna. They felt like we see like Narada Muni asked dust of their feet, and they were even ready to go to hell just for a moment of pleasure to Lord Krishna. So in this way we can see that of course there are so many they are all pure devotees, and previous incarnation they were all sages, and they were actually meditating to get Lord Krishna as their husband. That's my understanding. Please correct me. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So much, Prabhu, Sumana Prabhu, for reading this beautiful verse, the response of Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj's question. And there's also one other point tied to the question, that when a Madhyam Adhikari asks a question, it is not only for his benefit, but it also benefits the masses. So Parikshit not only inquired, of course, he think, since a devotee always feels, I don't know anything, but actually their question, purifies everyone. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Shrota the Vakta is purified, the Shrota is purified, the one who inquires is purified, and anyone in between. Like Mother Ganga purifies the three worlds, upper, middle, and lower. So that's a beautiful verse itself in Bhagavatam. Now, Shukdev Goswami says, I've explained to you this point previously. Can anyone think of what is he referring to? Which canto, which chapter, which pastime, where did he explain this point previously? This point was explained to you. Shukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit, this point was explained to you previously. Any thoughts? Anyone can link? So basically, if you remember the beginning of Canto 7, the famous pastime of Lord Nrsimhadev, which is one of the biggest pastimes in the Bhagavatam. How does it begin? It begins with Maharaj Yudhishthira asking this question when he sees the Shishupal enters, he was like accusing Kṛṣṇa, and then he is delivered. Seeing that, this whole pastime of Dharmaraj Yudhishthira inquiring from Narada Muni, and then Narada Muni, brings us back to this Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad and Nrsimhadev's story. So there is a beautiful verse in the Canto 7, chapter 1, right? Because that's where his pastimes begin. That I'll read, maybe 1 text 30, the translation, and 31.
कामाद्वेषाद् भयात् स्नेहात् यथा भक्तिश्वरे मना आवेश्य तद् अघं हित्वा बहवस्तद्गतिं गताः. Many persons have attained liberation simply by thinking of Kṛṣna with great attention and giving up sinful activities. This great attention may be due to lusty desires, inimical feelings, fear, affection, or devotional service. I shall now explain how one receives Krishna's mercy simply by concentrating one's mind upon him.
There you go. So what are the adjectives used? Kama, dveshat. Kam means lusted desires. In this case, it's pure love, because lust for Kṛṣna is actually pure love. Lust is for material activities. Right? Lust for Kṛṣna is equivalent to pure love. Full permission. Dvesha, inimical, hatred, dvesha. Dvesh, again, so Kama, we know, Gopis. Can anyone give example of people who were very inimical towards Kṛṣna or the Supreme Lord? They're always planning to kill him. Kamsa, very nice. Ravana, classic example, always thinking, where is Ram? I want to kill him. I'll destroy him. Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha, yes. Shishupal, inimical, always accusing, complaining, trying to kill. So all the demoniac people basically who are trying to kill Krishna or harm Krishna. And even if someone, like I say, oh, Hare Krishna people are fools, Hare Krishna people are good for nothing, Hare Krishna people are always doing this bad, that bad. These Hare Krishnas are like waste of time. They are just like parasites to society. So although this person is inimical or dvesha, but he's thinking of Hare Krishna, right? He's thinking of devotees. So although not the best way to remember, but much better than someone who is not remembering or not chanting God's name at all. So inimical. What else? Bhayat, fear. Kamsa was very fearful. Shishupal was fearful because he knew this come, right? So fear. What else? Then sneha. Sneha means affection. Who was remembering Krishna with affection? Prahlad. Okay.
Gopis. Yashoda.
Yeah. Primarily, most devotees, we can say, with the classic example here is the Pandavas. Right? They were like friends with Krishna. They're like relatives, friends, and so. So let's go and see some examples. Who would like to read this verse and the translation? So Shukdev Goswami gave some reasons. Try to remember the Sanskrit word kama, dveshad, bhayad, krodhad, snehad. Right? These are kama, dvesha, bhaya, sneha. So now let's see. Is Devaki Mataji want to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all. Gopyat kamad bhayat kamsho dvesha chaitya deyo nipa sambandhat vishnaya snehad yogyam bhaktya vayam vibho. Translation. I can't see Prabhuji. Please. Thank you. My dear King Yudhishthir, the Gopi by their lusty desires, Kamsa by his fear, Shishupal and other kings by envy, the Yadus by their familial relationship with Krishna, you Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna, and we the general devotees by our devotional service have obtained the mercy of Krishna. Purport by his divine grace. Okay. That's all?
Yeah. This is just a reference verse from our main reading. So we're just taking some examples. Quite self-explanatory verse. Gopis by lust desires or pure love. Gopya kama bhaya kamsa. Kamsa bhaya se yaad karta tha. Where is my cow? You may have seen little Krishna. Where is my cow? Kill my cow, right? Dvesha, chedya, ched adya, chedya. So is the Chediraj, right? Ched adya. There were other Shishupal and other kings, envious kings, right? Who were remembering because of envy. Nripaha, ched adya nripa. So other kings, basically. Sambandhanat, Vrishnaya, Vrishnivansh or Yaduvansh, they were remembering because of Sambandha or their relationship, familial relationship. Snehat yuyam, tvam yuvam yuyam. Yuyam means you in plural. So, who is you here? The Pandavas, specifically Yudhishthir and others. So, and who is speaking this verse? Narad Muni. Narad Muni is speaking when Yudhishthira Maharaj questioned about the partiality of the Supreme Lord. So the Pandavas through their sneha, affection, and now he's saying we, Vayam, we general devotees, we bhaktya, by the devotional service. Vibho, oh great king, oh Yudhishthira Maharaj. So again, now back to the original verse, Shukdev Goswami is saying, I have already shared the example of Shishupal and the great story now, who when Yudhishthira Maharaj asked that question, this point was already explained previously, Canto 7 reference. Even Shishupal, who hated Kṛṣṇa, like abusing Kṛṣṇa, achieved perfection. Achieved what? He achieved the spiritual body. Right? It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Kṛṣṇa chakra hata amhasau. By the chakra of the Lord Kṛṣṇa, the sins of Dantavakra and Shishupal were removed. And they attained their original spiritual body as Jai and Vijay in the spiritual world, the doorkeepers. So basically, anyone who thinks of Kṛṣṇa is very nice. But we know how we have to think of Kṛṣṇa is Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyena vritam anukulyena Kṛṣṇano shilanam bhaktir uttama. Anukul, not pratikul. Kamsa was thinking in pratikul. Shishupal was thinking in pratikul. Pratikul means unfavorable, trying to abuse, accuse, plan to kill, cause havoc to devotees. This is like pratikul. We have to think like Mother Yashoda, like the Krishna's friends, always thinking of how to serve Krishna, how to give the best pleasure to Krishna, how Krishna will be happy. That's prema. Any other thoughts, comments anyone has?
So, Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, so this Shishupal and Hiranyakashipu, they got the perfection because they are the ultimate eternal associates of the Lord. But it did not happen to the living entities like me with political thinking, with hatred. We will not be able to be perfect.
It's not that, I mean, if we may think of this temporary journey, right? We may think of this lifetime only. Even if we think of very anukul, who can guarantee that after giving up this body, I will go back home to spiritual world? Can someone guarantee that? We cannot guarantee that, right? Even if someone does nice bhakti, right? There could be still gaps. We are talking about Munichari Gopis who had gaps, correct? So even if someone is doing favorably, it does not guarantee that next life is sure, back home, back to Godhead. So we should not think of just this temporary one lifespan, which is in the eternal journey of soul is just like a tiny dot. So let's say someone thinks of in a very unfavorable way towards Kṛṣṇa or towards devotees. As you know, His Holiness, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one article, two newspapers wrote two articles. You may have heard this story. In one article, there was nice things about God, about, this Gaudiya is nice, they do good things. And the whole article, they couldn't find the word Kṛṣṇa. In one article, it was full of blasphemy, but there was at least 10 times the word Kṛṣṇa. So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur said, oh, this article is actually better. Because they are saying, oh, Kṛṣṇa is this, we don't believe in Kṛṣṇa, or people think Kṛṣṇa is something, or, like it was not philosophically correct, but the word Kṛṣṇa was used multiple times. And we all know, Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatar. Right? There is no bhed. Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvas Nama Namini. So we should not just think for this temporary 20, 50, 80 years. Yes, I'm not saying that person will go back home, back to Godhead, will develop a spiritual body. If Krishna wants, that can also happen. That's between him and the Supreme Lord's mercy. But what will be the outcome? The outcome is Krishna will notice that this person took so many names or was always outside the temple to see what wrong they are doing. And there are actually devotees. They came to spy what happens in this ISKCON temple. What do they mix in their food? Right? Maybe some illegal activities are going on. They came as spy. What to speak of, why to go much further? Even His Grace Yaduvar Prabhu and Vishaka Mataji, their interest was not like bhakti when they came beginning. They're just like, we just want photos. We're not here for bhakti. We're just photographers. We want to take photos and videos. That was their motivation, right? So whether one's motivation is like clicking pictures, they became like pure devotees, right? Or some people came with, so many bad habits. And some people came to accuse now, then later they became pure. So we have to see from a much longer eternal journey of the soul. Krishna says that yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshayit. By hook or the crook, if someone is thinking of Krishna, even to kill him, right? Like the famous story, one person heard about Krishna to steal his jewelry. Have I shared that story? Remember? He wanted to steal Krishna's jewelry. I'll share this since we're talking about this topic. But I think your question is answered, right? You have to see from a much longer span.
Yeah, okay, sure.
They will certainly get the highest perfection. It may take a few lifetimes, it may take 100 lifetimes, but ultimately it's fine. So stealing Krishna's jewelry, there was a great dacoit. There was a great, like daku, thief. He was expert in stealing watch, stealing gold, stealing money. And one time he stole something. The police was chasing him. People were chasing him. And suddenly there was a katha happening. A Bhagavat katha was happening. Some devotee was doing katha, and he, in order to avoid getting caught by the police, he entered in that katha, in that satsang, and he sat down very quietly, as if he's a great attentive devotee. So in that katha, somehow that day he was saved, right? But the devotee doing the katha was glorifying Krishna, right? That how Krishna's mother, Mata Yashoda, puts so many wonderful armlets and beautiful bracelets and beautiful necklace around his neck and beautiful earrings around Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana. And they're like touchstone, they're so precious, the most precious of all gems and all pearls and rubies and whatnot. And his beautiful anklets. And how old is he? Oh, just 3-4 years old. Ah. And not only that, he in the evening, he goes by himself. That means, I can easily, he is thinking of making a plan as he is hearing, wow, this sounds like a good opportunity to steal from this boy who is very young, 5-6 years old. And he comes in the evening, in the dark, at the time of sunset, with the cows. And then the class was over, everyone went, and then this Daku paused. Pujari ji, oh Maharaj ji, I want to know the address. Where can I find this boy? I want to meet him. So why you want to meet him? He didn't want to say I want to steal his jewelry, but oh no, I want to meet him. I liked him, especially his jewelry. So I want to see him. So okay, you'll find him in Vrindavan. Okay, how will I recognize him? Because there will be so many boys in Vrindavan. Well, he puts a peacock feather on his hair. He carries a flute, always carries a flute. He is bluish black complexion, very, very beautiful. Shama Sundara. And he wears pitambara, dhoti. And he wears beautiful ornaments, like we discussed in the class today. Vrindavan, peacock feather. Vamsidhari, right? More mukutadhari. So he's meditating. Kṛṣṇa, his name is Kṛṣṇa. He is Ghanasham, bluish, blackish complexion. He carries flute, Venudhari, Vamsidhari, Murlidhari. So he's thinking of Kṛṣṇa. He said, thank you so much. He starts his journey from very far. It was about 300 kilometers away. So a considerable distance. He starts his journey. And entire journey, his goal is to steal. Very fixed. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, right? It's very fixed. But he's meditating upon, so he doesn't forget. Well, he doesn't have a notepad or anything. It's trying to keep in his memory, right? So he's after Shravanam, he's doing Smaranam, trying to remember. So over there he reaches, he goes, and he's thinking, where will I find Kṛṣṇa? How will I find? He's meditating intensely, Kṛṣṇa, Vrindavan, Vamsidhari, Murlidhari, with peacock feather. He's thinking the bluish, and he also, the cows always surround him. And then finally in the evening, at the time of Godhuli, when the cows return and the dust from their hoof surround the atmosphere, that's a very auspicious time called Godhuli. And then there comes the beautiful Lord, Kṛṣṇa, along with Balram. And this devotee, this Daku, this thief sees him, sees the Lord. He's like, and this is like a recent story, like 500 years back or like a few hundred years back. This is not like, we're not talking about 5,000 years back. Kṛṣṇa is eternally there. Kṛṣṇa is always doing his Nitya Lila in Vrindavan. But we have to develop the eyes to see that. So finally, long story short, he sees, but no one else is able to see. And then he talks to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, actually, I came here to steal your jewels, but somehow I'm not feeling like. And Kṛṣṇa says, well, if you steal my jewels, what will I say to my mother? Right? It's like that there's a beautiful conversation. And then we know that, like Dhruva, I came here for broken pieces of glasses, but having your darshan, right, is like diamond. So when one sees Kṛṣṇa Sakshat, these pearls and rubies and diamonds will not give real happiness because there is not. So finally his heart was transformed, and there's a long story. But the point is again that he did not have a favorable approach. But see, bhakti is so encompassing that even if someone is so unfavorable to Kṛṣṇa, but Kṛṣṇa still includes him. Okay, you think of me, even you want to kill me, that's fine, but remember me. Right? That will help you to think favorably one day. That's the point. Hare Krishna. Any other additions, reflections, comments, questions? I see.
Prabhuji, very wonderfully explained, Prabhuji. I was also hearing similar from Grace Nitai Sevani Mataji. So Mataji, somebody was asking how, it is easy, for others, to do animically, then, so, but Mataji said, you think that is easy, but that is not actually easy. That is even more difficult, because Kamsa was remembering and fearing every moment, every second, every minute. So, and being envious and all, it is not, possible. So that's why it is actually very easy to favorably love and all. You will have a lot of, happiness when you think of Krishna like that. Even though, as you said, animically he was, there, the thief, but ultimately, just because of thinking of Krishna, his heart got melted. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna then.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful reflection, Prabhu. Very nice. I see Puna Mataji is also joined. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your kind association.
Prabhuji, my pleasure. Hare Krishna. Jai Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I like that you make reference to Vishakha Mataji. When I read how she was in the beginning, her life, only as a photographer when she went to Vrindavan, she was wondering how could people just stay like that, especially the women. So even then she was wondering, how can women stay like that alone, just thinking of Krishna? Because she was completely in atheistic mood. She wasn't religious at all. She went only because as a photographer. But that's how much she changed, Prabhuji. I just like reading her, the podcasts and all. Every day I like reading about Vishakha Mataji. She's so knowledgeable nowadays. I like reading about her. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you so much. Any other comments, question?
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Even in the Holy Name Festival, earlier they were announcing, in the temple they were announcing for Nam Kirtan in the soccer field as like a silly in a silly way. Just to, so that at least the holy name would be spread and reached out to people who are looking for that silly way. So I was a little bit thinking, okay, there are aparadhas, 10 aparadhas that we should avoid while chanting holy name. How come they are announcing to have it spread out in a silly way? And then they were explaining why we are doing this and what's the response, people, how they respond and how it's reaching out. So kind of a little bit related to what you were explaining. Just wanted to share. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we will pause here, continue tomorrow with the next verse, which is text 15, I believe. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम पुराण की जय, जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.